gamers, gamerettes, and gamers that are non-binary, welcome back to Blizz Bizz.
Oh, and don't forget about those formerly known as gamers.
Yeah, no. We can't forget about those formerly known as gamers. What's up, guys?
Yeah, hey, what's going on? I have a
I,
beer because we're about to get mad.
we're about to get very mad. This is not going to be a happy video. We're
Yeah,
very angy.
this is not your father's happy-go-lucky gamer video, right now.
No, not at all. We're angy. We're ready to go. Chris, why don't you tell them what we're angy about?
Well, as a quick little disclaimer, or I don't even know if that's what we would call it, but essentially, this is gonna be way off of our normal formula that we do for these, where we go down our list of uh like news and stuff we're doing and our opinions on those. This is strictly going to be the GW is poo poo episode.
Yeah,
Um
if you know our intro where it says me when GW, this is that episode.
oh yeah, 100%. Like, I a lot of the stuff that has uh surfaced through Games Workshop within the past couple of weeks um has not been the greatest. And I'm sure other more popular and more viewed channels have talked about these things, but if more of us in the community bring up our dislike, then maybe things will change. Probably not, but
We can
we
hope.
just have to. It's good to get it out there in the universe so that maybe somebody will hear it.
Absolutely. So I think this is going to be a rant video. I'm warning you guys right now. This is a rant video. This is a rant. Everything, you know.
Yep, straight up rant about us being butthurt.
I, I'm I'm gonna let you start because I know you. We've switched roles to pull the curtain behind what goes on here at Blizz Bizz Studios. When I
At
normally
Dying Bard Productions.
at Dying Bar Productions here. So normally when we make an episode, I will give Chris all the topics and he just go, I'm just gonna wing it. Meanwhile, I'm over here like mapping out everything I want to say. Um, in this episode, we've reversed roles apparently because I'm really just gonna wing it because I feel like I've made my stance on GW like clear to everybody. But Chris has got a long list of things he needs to talk about.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too is that I I also criticize Games Workshop whenever I can, and I try to give them the benefit. Like, I try to give them the plus whenever they deserve it. So if they come out with a good model or something like that, I'll give it to them. But what's happened in, like I said, the past 2 weeks has just been astronomically awful in my world, in my universe of the Warhammer world. It's
And to
just like,
those, oh god,
no, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say to those who don't know about what's been happening in the world of Warhammer, the big news came with fourth edition Age of Sigmar, and it started off as just well, there's a new edition, and then it progressively got worse with the announcement that they will be removing a bunch of models from the range, two armies from the game just completely erased, while others just lost a few units.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that wasn't even the worst, or that is the worst of it, but that isn't even where it started. Okay, like, I'm gonna go down my list here now, starting, like, because I don't want to get ahead of like the climax of this.
Right,
If
right, right.
Basically, what I have on the start of my list here is, like, back when, before like weeks before Adepticon even happened, there were the whispers of, it's been 3 years, so now it's time for a new edition of Age of Sigmar. And the first thing, and this isn't just like me talking to one person. This is me looking on Reddit and YouTube, and I mean, I'm not on Facebook anymore, but um, like a couple of other social media or share sites that they were making whispers of this, and there was, at least from what I saw, more of like a 70-30 split of people who are like, oh yay, a new edition, this is going to be great. And I'm sitting here in the 30% going, what's wrong with third edition? It is perfect right now. Like I don't have any problems with this game. And maybe it's because I don't play in the competitive scene. Well, guess what? The competitive scene is bupkis. It doesn't matter. Like if you play a tabletop war game for clout, that's really sad. But um I didn't understand why we needed a new version, and then I see people's complaints about how, oh well, there was rules bloat and there was uh what was the big one? Oh, the mortal wound spam was too big. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, how, I mean, unless you're building a super competitive cheese list, and you're bringing like a main staple or centerpiece model like Nagash or Archaon, like that would be the only way I could really see the mortal wound spam happening. I mean, I know there was like with I think it was called the Antaros spells. So they had like the Blizzard spell, which was like a key spell for all of your wizards to have competitively because it did it did a ton of mortal wounds.
Mm-hmm.
But just about everything in the game is a ward save at this point, where you can give it a ward save. So I mean, who cares? I don't know. And this is just coming from a casual gamer who plays basically in his own friend circle. But that's why I have such a problem with editions changing so often as they do now, is because I always brought up the scenario that if I play, because I don't really get the chance to play Warhammer at all, because of just how busy work-life balance is. If I were to play 30 games in a year span, and then the game changes in 3 years, so estimated 90 games before I have to learn an entirely new system, buy entirely new books. Like it's just dumb, and it's not worth it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I luckily, when it comes to the friend group, I haven't had a ton of kickback with me saying that I'm not going to pursue any further editions, and then I'm just going to stick with Age of Sigmar third. Everybody's been relatively understanding about it because, like, I just want to have fun. I just want to be able to do things with these models and books and all this crap that I've spent thousands of dollars on and hundreds of hours either building. I mean, I just started painting. I'll get to that soon. I'll get to that. but like I mean that's what I have here for the top of my list, is like I didn't think that third edition was in a spot that it needed to be completely rehauled. Like I was okay in those first couple of weeks before Adepticon where they were saying, oh well, maybe it'll just be a couple of rules touch-ups to third edition, or they'll add something, kind of like how 6th to 7th edition 40k was, where they just fixed a couple rules and then added some extra things, and then it was a perfect game. But then no, then it wasn't. Then it was, we're completely rehauling it. So I'm getting down to the second part of my. Did you want to add anything to the third edition being perfect? I just kind of.
I kind of want to let you like get out what you need to get out before I kind of go in, because it's not like I disagree with any of your parts, but there's just stuff I would add in like a different light. Like I have a whole thing about GW being anti-consumer, but that's like a whole topic.
Oh, it is. All right, so I'll go down my list then, and then we'll get into the GW doesn't care about your feelings or your wallet. So yeah, so then fourth edition gets announced at Adepticon. They're talking about rehauling the entire game system. They're talking about making it more new user friendly, making it even more simplified than it already was. Like I genuinely don't understand. Like for somebody who's been playing Warhammer games for 20 years, I don't understand how the game is complicated. Like, I get that it used to have a really strong like learning curve because the rule books used to be pretty thick.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that the rules have been, say I'm taking the example of like Warhammer 40K. I mean, you had like third edition through seventh edition where the game pretty much stayed the same, but it added a couple additional rules here and there throughout the editions. But the base concept of how the game is played was the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then so throughout those editions, it shouldn't be that hard for somebody who's been playing for at least an edition or two to get used to a new edition. So I don't understand why we have to keep, in quote, simplifying the rules because they want like chimpanzees to be able to play the game. They don't have money. The zoo's not going to pay for their habit. So it's like, I just don't understand it. But regardless, I'm getting off topic now. But yeah, so they announced all that and the stupid rules changes like charging on your opponent's turn, which I thought is really dumb. Basically, what I'm trying to get here is the gist of it. The TLDR is I hated 4th edition before all of this other stuff came out for people to hate on GW. I was the cool guy who hated it before it was bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what I'm getting at here.
I was the cool guy.
I was the cool guy that hated before it was cool to hate. But yeah, just like I don't know. I looked at a stream today from one of my YouTubers, 2+Tough, and he was going over the new War Scrolls and the layout, and it's just it's stupid. They're like, oh yeah, you could fit everything on one page. I'm like, yeah. So nothing. I mean, it's the problem that everybody is saying right now with 10th edition 40K is that nothing feels unique or special because it all does the same thing, or it does nothing. You know what I mean? Like if you try to fit all of the rules for something on a single war scroll, and I'm not saying that basic units like clan rats need to have mountains and mountains of rules. I mean, technically, they already did this fit everything on one page for your war scrolls. I mean, in your codexes right now, you could probably put 2 to 3 things on one page. It's just a profile and then maybe one little special rule that they have, if that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand the appeal, unless they're just lying like usual because it's Games Workshop. And then yeah, like it's stupid that they got rid of things like Battle Shock is completely gone now. They don't have a Battle Shock phase. There's no leadership tests at all. I believe from what the War Scroll looked like, and I'm just going off of what this YouTuber, I basically caught the last minute and a half of his live stream. It looks like it's supposed to be used for capturing, like command points, or not command points. What do they call them? Objectives. So it's like they replaced your bravery characteristic with a number. And for like liberators, that number is 1. So for every liberator in that unit, you get 1 capture point or something like that. Which, again, isn't any different than the game now. Like 3rd edition, it was model count versus your opponent's model count for who controls that objective.
Yeah, it seems like they're just rewording a rule.
Well, they are. They're basically making it so in current edition, you have to deal with Battle Shock, and you get model count versus model count for objective control. You just have both of those things. Getting rid of a really important part of the game structure, which was always, I mean, in all versions of Warhammer. I mean, maybe not 10th because again, we only play like three games of 10th, and I don't really remember much of it.
Right.
But the entire thing revolves around movement, combat, and leadership. I mean, morale has always been like a huge part of the battle.
Right.
And like tabletop war games are supposed to simulate battle. And if nobody's afraid, or if nobody is unafraid, and everybody's just unafraid, then is it really battle simulation at that point, or is it just rolling dice for sweaty neckbeards? You know what I mean? And I'm saying this as a sweaty neckbeard,
I was just about to say, like, Chris, we've been playing this game for like 15 years.
It's true, we have been playing, but I'm not a sweaty player. I've never been a sweaty player.
You've
because
never really been a sweaty player.
Those are the competitive players. Like
the only time I've ever seen you make like sweaty lists is when we went to Games Day.
Yeah, that was it. Because I wanted to be undefeated at Games Day. I still am.
Well, I mean, it's not like it's coming back.
Exactly. I went out a winner. But yeah, like I don't make competitive lists. I make very stupid. I don't even make fluffy lists. Like I look at the things that I want and I make them. And that was the other thing too, when they're like, "Oh, now you can make the armies you want to make and you want to build." I'm like, "What does that even mean?" Like, you already could do these things. It's the same thing that Wizards of the Coast did when they were like, "Oh, D&D 1, you can now do whatever you want with the rules." I'm like, "Oh, you mean that thing I could do since the 80s?" Like, don't try to sell me. It's like on the back of Bubsy 3D where they try to advertise picking up coins as like part of the game, like a selling point. Like, don't try to sell me the fact that I can do whatever you want in this game that I've always been able to do. God.
I think with that, I know you and I have discussed this in out of stream, but I think the reason why they feel the need to bring that up is the I don't want to say reliance, but it's like the importance of having that in the rules. I mean, I imagine it like this. If the idea that you could change the rules wasn't in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, people would be the most rules lawyers sons of guns ever.
But those things are in there. They've always, I mean, look at the Dungeon Master's Guide. It tells you that you have the ability to do whatever you want in the game. It's not that sentence word for word, but the Dungeon Master's Guide actually tells you that you, as the Dungeon Master, can change anything.
Right, and
just like in the Warhammer rule books, they have a section for narrative play where it says that you can make house rules.
Right, and I think it's more of a distinction of like, are we doing a narrative play or are we doing just a regular game with, I'm trying to do quotation marks in audio only, so
well, that needs to be established before the game even starts. I mean, if you're going to a game store for a tournament, it's going to be pitch battles.
Right.
Or unless they say, "Hey, we are blah 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 game store and we're having a narrative campaign," then people should know that means that there's some rules that are going to be changed because it's narrative. It's not pitched.
And it's not like I'm disagreeing with you on your point about this was already in the rules. I'm just saying, like, I think that I can kind of in the weird goggle lens, I can kind of see why they thought they needed to do that.
Well, yeah, because Gen Zers and Gen Alpha don't read, so they need to be told everything. Like, I'm not trying to make this into a generational war thing here. But
Chris over here really showing his age.
Yeah. I may be a millennial, but I'm a boomer at heart. I'm a boomer dad.
You kind of are.
But like, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that Gen Z and Gen Alpha don't like to read, because they don't. Why do you think they're color coding the rules, Alex? That's the other thing. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're color coding the rules to make it easier to know what everything does." So it's like, and I looked at the war scroll for it. So it's like in the rule book, movement phase is like purple. So on your war scroll, if you have an ability that can only be used in the movement phase, it's just written in purple. And I'm like, this is
That's
so
disgusting. I didn't even
it's
know that.
yeah, it's so stupid.
That is
I'm like,
disgusting.
and it's like if it's in the fight phase, it's written in red, and it's just like, oh, they
See,
really are trying to make chimpanzees play this game.
here's my thing. I am not against them, like, in the rule book, having, like, a color structure with stuff like that, because it's just easier to be like, oh, this is the movement stuff, this is that. I don't need to, like, go through the table of contents to find what page it's on. Like, oh, green, here. I'm fine with that in the rule book, but the fact that it's in the colored words of certain abilities, I'm like, that's too far. You've gone too far.
Right. Like I was totally fine with previous editions when they wanted to speed up the process of finding a rule or something like that. They would just bold it. Sorry, I'm really burpy because I'm drinking a lot of beer right now. Um,
It's the only way to get your
but like,
anger out. Chris's boomer is really showing. Sorry, I'm drinking
yeah.
my beer right now.
But
These
like
darn kids.
these kids and their dice and their plastic crack. But yeah, like previous editions in the rule books, they just bolded. You know, like you would get to the section about movement, and then when you would skim through like the entire paragraph, then in bold it would say movement is based off of your movement characteristic, and then like if there was any additional information, it would be there, but like the important key information was always in bold. So that I didn't mind. Like that's a different. It's not color coding.
Right.
You know, people bold like bold letters and stuff when they write up like a a resume. I don't know, or like a memo. You know, things will be boldened if they're important, or if it's just like, you know, hey, the meeting is blah 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 in this room, blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like they'll bold the information so you know where to go or what it's about.
Nah, totally.
But you know, if you're like in the office and you send a letter or you send a memo out and the memo is in green letters, that means that everybody needs to know that they need to meet in green room. But I didn't tell them they have to come to green room.
Please come to green room after passing yellow hallway.
Yeah, exactly. But don't collect $200.
Don't you ever collect 200. I will find you if you collect $200.
Find you and I will pink slip you. But yeah, so it's just dumb stuff coming to this edition so that babies right out of the womb can play the game because GW needs more money from unsuspecting people that don't know how much of a money grubbing just corrupted piece of garbage Games Workshop is.
Just absolutely, like, I despite us playing so long, they are, even looking back, just an awful company.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is like they've never really been, because you got to think at the end of the day, yeah, it's a business, so they got to make money. But like even when we were younger, the models were still relatively expensive. Like this has always been a leisure hobby, but I think it's just now. And in one of the Reddit posts that I read, I left a comment on there, and I put specifically that GW has always been this way, but where my life is at right now, and where I'm at in the hobby, this is disgusting.
It's so
You know,
funny because I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's funny looking at it now because when we played the game when we were kids, we had all the freedom and ability, and I felt like GW really cared, at least in the sense of, even though they kind of screwed us with like the codexes and the supplement codexes and make sure to buy this book, and then you end up spending like $300 just on books. Even through all of that, I think it was just that if we look at our situation now, it's impossible. It's almost like we're not their target audience anymore.
no, we're not. Their target audience is people that have never played the game before.
That and children.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like think of all the things that Games Workshop is collabing with right now. I mean, you've got AdMech Power Wash Simulator. You've got like all of the different. I mean, you've got a racing game coming out for Speed Freaks. You've got their Flyboys game. They got like the Left 4 Dead clones with Darktide and Vermintide, and then you've got what was it? Realms of Ruin, which I've heard and seen is like a C-list game. Like, it's not very good. They had a collab with Call of Duty last month.
Yes, they
Like,
did.
they had Battle Sisters, and I believe it was like Tempestus Scion skins, and then they also had a Space Marine skin. So I mean, it's like they're everywhere. Like Warhammer is in the mainstream, and it's been in the mainstream for a couple of years now. But like to be out of the world looking in again is crazy. And one of the things I don't know if is it on my list right now. I want to make sure that I'm
No,
not going
you're
to get
good,
ahead
dude.
of
We went off track a little bit.
No, that's fine. Um, okay, so I don't have this on my list, but uh, if you actually look at like gross profiting for Games Workshop this year and last year, they are more profitable than Google.
Yeah, I remember seeing
Like,
an article about that.
yeah, it's insane. How? I mean, I get that Google was a titan for how long, and that no king rules forever, but even still, like a leisure hobby is now more profitable than something that's in everybody's pocket.
And the big thing is, GW, like the big thing is they make money through the ways where you don't think they make money.
Mhm.
I I I've talked to you about it before, but and I've listened to other people that say just buy second party, just go to a game shop and just buy the Games Workshop there because you get it at a discount. That'll really stick it to them. GW still makes a sizable profit from that purchase.
Yeah. Well,
It,
I've got good uh good info, I guess. I got the scoop, if you know what I
scoop.
mean. I've got the
It's got the
scoop.
scoop.
And the scoop is that, like Games Workshop will sell to their third party buyers or like the private owned stores. They
Mm-hmm.
will get product before Games Workshop official stores will.
Because that's their moneymaker.
It is. Yeah, they don't make money from their stores anymore. In fact, I'm surprised they even have stores available at this point
Well, they're
because
getting rid of the play places, right? Like you're not allowed to play there anymore.
yeah, so there's certain stores I believe in America right now that you can't play games in the store anymore. All of them in the UK are just strictly purchase stores. You can't actually play games there anymore. Um, and it's slowly becoming that. Like it'll eventually become that in America. I mean, they're a titan right now,
Oh yeah. I mean,
but
it's ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, the little discount that you get from places like the secondhand stores or the privately owned hobby stores, like yeah, it's nice to get like say a 15% discount right away. Um, but Games Workshop is making even more money than if you were to go buy it from them.
And let's be clear about this. We don't want you to buy from them at all.
No, no, I have not bought a single thing from directly from Games Workshop in years. Like multiple. I mean, I would probably push 5 or 6 years. I haven't bought anything directly from Games Workshop,
Yeah.
and
It's so
you know,
crazy, man.
and it's an internal struggle really because I want to support local stores like say to use Adventure Gaming as a example. I love the guys that work there are super cool. I love the store. They do great events for all sorts of tabletops and card games and Dungeons and Dragons. Um, and I like to support that store, and that is the only reason that I buy Games Workshop product from Adventure Gaming is because I want to support that store more than I want to support Games Workshop.
And I think that's kind of the a thing I would want to. I agree with you. It just sucks that when that happens, GW is profiting all. And
I know.
the best solution I see with stuff like that is either in that scenario, it's just we don't buy GW. Like
Yeah.
I think with all of this happening, and I wanted to save this for like after you were done, but I gotta say it now.
Well, I mean, I also have something like that that I'm saving for the end of this. So if you want to wait, I can keep going.
All right, I'll let you go. I'll let you go.
Yeah, just make sure to write it down so you don't forget it.
Yeah.
So moving on from their prices, the big one, so I got onto Reddit 2 days ago, and I saw something that made me so happy, but at the same time, like just abruptly sad and depressed. And that was, like the happy part of it was that we're now almost at a 50-50 split of people who are like 4th edition is garbage,
Mm-hmm.
4th edition bad. And I was like, finally, people are starting to wake up. I wonder why they made that decision. And then, you see the big one, the armies that got dropped that will not be making it to 4th edition Age of Sigmar, and that will not get any more new models. Like they won't be selling those molds anymore. And that's the biggest one. Obviously, the biggest hit is Beasts of Chaos.
Oh,
Like Beasts of Chaos have been in such a difficult position since Age of Sigmar even started.
yeah.
Like people, like they didn't even have an army, they didn't have a battle tome in 1st edition Age of Sigmar. They just didn't. They had the errata from Old World, and then they never got like a battle tome. And then 2nd edition came along, and they finally got a Beast of Chaos battle tome. It wasn't great.
No, it was not. I played it.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. Games Workshop really didn't know what to do with Beasts of Chaos or how to make them good. But I still think that it had a lot to do with the rules set for 2nd edition Age of Sigmar. They just didn't have it there yet. Because like 1st edition Age of Sigmar wasn't good either. Like first
I
and
had a
second,
lot of fun with 1st edition.
well, it was goofy. Like I mean, it can still be fun and goofy and not be like a good structured system.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was definitely a plug in and play Warhammer.
Yeah, that I absolutely agree with.
Yeah, that's definitely what 1st edition was. 2nd edition is they started to start working their brains and make this a more tactical war game like 40K and Old World, and then 3rd edition came out, and then this edition has just kept getting better and better every time a general's handbook comes out and adds more to the game. Like I really enjoy the general's handbooks because it really doesn't change anything, maybe a couple points values for competitive play, but other than that, you just get more stuff that you can use in your games or campaigns, and it's awesome.
Totally.
And 3rd edition Beast of Chaos got an amazing battle tome. Like they are so incredibly powerful in
They got
3rd
a huge
edition.
reboot with all their new models.
Yeah, they did get quite a few new models. I mean that Beast Lord model isn't even a year old.
Nope.
It's not even a year old, and it's already out of print. Like they're not selling it anymore because the army is gone, and that is so disgusting that they would do that, and that they're just choosing to get rid of these molds. Like they act like they don't have the ability to just put a mold in a closet and then make it made to order.
Yeah.
Like nobody is telling Games Workshop that they need to like print constantly and then have this overstock of inventory and just wait for it to sell. Like, no, just make they just need to make everything made to order. Don't make anything until you actually have somebody trying to order it. I mean, it's like, and I'm not the only one that thinks this. There's plenty of other people that have been in this community and this hobby for as long as I have been, or even longer, and have this idea or better ideas on how Games Workshop can make sure things are more available and not have terrible failures of launches of new box sets and things like that, because they never have enough, because apparently the plastic shortage has been going on since the mid 80s.
Yeah,
Like,
despite 3D printers having no issue.
yeah, exactly. Like, it's just disgusting. And then they got rid of the bone splitters. So,
Oh, my
your
heart.
old world savage orcs no longer a thing. You can
Oh,
only play what are they called? Iron something,
Iron
Iron
Jaws or
Jaws.
something.
Yeah. So you can only play Iron Jaws because, there's the one main character in there, and then you can only play the stupid sneaky orcs, the cruel boys.
Yeah.
It's such a, I mean, like, it's like, I get what they're going with, how, like, they want one army to be Gork, one army to be Mork, but the Savage Orcs were supposed to embody Gorka Borka, like when they were just one god, you know?
Yeah, and also it was just they all felt distinct.
And they were goofy. It was the one way to have silly orcs in the game, and because the other two orcs don't have silly characters.
No.
They're all big buff raws, or they're skinny little shushes.
Well,
Like, it's
and that's the thing that I think what GW is trying to do with Fourth Ed is they are trying to make Age of Sigmar grimdark.
oh yeah, 100%.
We can't have goofy units in this grimdark world. Looking at 40k with all the goofy orcs in there,
Yeah, right.
or the
Like,
Necron who was a pirate.
yeah, like, it is definitely going in the direction of GW making Age of Sigmar grimdark. I mean, you got to
Sigmar
think.
lied.
Yeah, about nothing. First off, if anything, GW lied. But yeah, they're trying to push the Hollowed Knights as the poster child of the Sigmarines now. Which, that's very telling. And I'm not saying that they have bad lore. I'm just saying that when you went from the Hammers of Sigmar being the face of the game, essentially, and those guys have always been like the protect at all cost, save humanity, save the mortals, be good. They're essentially like the salamanders of of Age of Sigmar.
Totally.
And you're taking those guys, they're taking a backseat to the Hollow Knights, which is pretty much just, you know the Stormcast Eternals, who have died so many times that their humanity is gone. Like, that, I don't understand.
We're inches away from just getting Chaos Stormcast Eternals.
Well, I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure there's gonna be a renegade faction or something like that, because it'll be the new hip cool thing, like Darkoth units or something like that, but
Right.
Sigmarines.
Yeah,
And
man. It is disgusting.
yeah, so Beast of Chaos, Bone Splitters, and then, like, all of the Chaos, or the Slaves to Darkness Warcry units, all of
Which
those are
is a
gone.
darn shame, man, because those units are so cool.
So, and this is just another guess or theory or idea on Reddit right now, because there was tons of people on Reddit that said, like, before it, like 2 weeks before Adepticon even happened, when they said fourth edition was coming, there was already somebody or a couple of people out there saying Beasts of Chaos were going to get squatted.
Oh.
So some of this stuff on Reddit is true. Like, these people probably have insider knowledge. So I'll just lay it on you real quick.
Uh-huh.
Warcry might be leaving.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, it sounds like they're gonna discontinue Warcry.
What a shame, because people really enjoy Warcry.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
I
mean,
never got a chance to play it.
Yeah, I've personally never played the game itself, but I like the idea of like skirmish style, with or skirmish style Age of Sigmar just as much as I like things like Kill Team.
Right. Well, and I liked having that option without it just like 750 points is cool, but sometimes just having like a unit with these like different rules makes a whole heck of a difference.
Well, yeah, because it plays completely different from Age of Sigmar.
And I almost wonder they really don't like their specialty games.
No, they don't,
They
because
they
in their
just
eyes, it doesn't make them any money.
yeah. Because like I think back, do you remember? I think I forget the actual name, but it was the Age of Sigmar Champions card game.
Yes.
So, to people who may not know, Games Workshop came out with a trading card game. You could buy booster packs and starter decks, and first off, the game is trash, but they wanted to do that. They had one official release ever, and then never supported it again.
Yep.
Because it's a specialty game, they don't want to support that.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the other specialty games. They don't really touch those ever. The only thing that's come out recently that they're still pouring support into is what is it? Titanicus or something like that.
Yeah.
Because lo and behold, it's another build a massive army and fight game, because those are the ones that make all the money.
And you have to buy very expensive miniatures for that game specifically.
Uh-huh.
See, and it's funny because you have games like Epic 40K. I don't want to know why they didn't try to push that more.
Well, that's what Titanicus is.
Is Titanicus Epic?
Yes.
Dang, why are the models so expensive? They're like 20mm.
I don't know. Well, I mean, like the size of the Titans that you buy for that are basically the size of like a dreadnought. Um, but they'll still charge you up the ass for whatever little model.
Right. That's nuts, man. That's
I
actually
know.
nuts.
But yeah, I mean, Warcry, uh, not it's not called, what is it? Warhammer Underworlds,
Yes! Oh my god.
Kill Team, like all that stuff. Like it doesn't get any support, and when it does, it's just like a little whatever, and then they don't touch it for 6 months.
And here's the thing, maybe that's for the best. I don't want to know what would happen to like Blood Bowl if GW like constantly had their hands dipped into the pot for it.
Yeah. Well, you got to think, if there was a competitive scene for it, then that game would be changing constantly.
Ugh. I'd like you to get back to your list because we're going on tangents.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I got all the time in the world, so. But I guess my biggest, so what else was there? So it was the Slaves of Darkness Warcry, the Bone Splitters, the Beasts of Chaos, and then they're discontinuing a bunch of other like monster units like the Jabber Scythe, Branch Raids, the Scylla Beast from uh, Blades of Corn, Valkia the Bloody, the entire Skaven range is gone. I mean, that one is mostly because it's going to get completely rehauled, I assume, just because those models are, it's like some of those models are like 15 years old.
Yeah, they're very old, yet they hold up very well. I will say that.
Some of them do, yeah, some of them do. But the thing is, like, so they let some of these models that are years and years old, and then they go ahead and retire molds that are barely 5 to 6 years old. So, like, the other thing they got rid of was half of the Stormcast Eternal line.
Yeah, the Hammers of Sigmar line.
Yeah, well, that and the Sanctum, something like that. Yeah, so they got rid of the base Hammers of Sigmar, and they got rid of this Sanctum.
Jesus.
which is everything from second edition, like the Soul Wars. So the Sequidors, the wizard guys, the crossbow guys. Yeah, they're all
My
anything from first and second edition Age of Sigmar is gonna be unusable.
my favorite part about all this was, hey guys, so we understand that Stormcast Eternals are just bloated with units, so we're gonna eliminate a bunch of these units. By the way, here's the new Stormcast Eternals models. Like,
Yeah, here's the new Liberator units,
they're not
and
called
they look
Liberators, but they're Liberators.
and they look so stupid.
Oh,
Like there was a
they look awful.
there was another YouTuber that I had watched. I've seen his video, some of his videos before, and he can be entertaining, but like I turned his video on, and as soon as he went, I love these new sculpts for the Liberators. I was like, oh no, turn it off. Can't. I just don't. I don't agree with you. I don't. The original sculpts for the Liberators. I love the bulky defender armor. And like they're all the new Stormcast Eternal models are all going to be in the Thunderstrike armor, where it's just like this sleek, weirdly built, like skinny legs in a skirt, and then like a football player's uh like shoulder harness or whatever. I don't know what you would call it, but shoulder guards.
Yeah.
It just looks dumb. It
No,
looks
they
so stupid.
it looks like a, you know what it looks like? It looks like someone who tried to emulate what Stormcast look, and then that's what they came up with.
Yeah, yeah. It's like they took a proxy model and was like, yeah, that's good enough. We could sell that for $80 for 5 guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, you need 15 for a unit.
Yep. So sorry. But yeah, like, and that was another big slap in the face too when they were retired. Like back to them retiring 6-year-old models. Yet, people are still able to buy all of the friggin' dark elves and dwarves from Old World and use them in Cities of Sigmar armies. Like, how does that make any sense?
Because money.
Yeah, because money. And you know what they're going to do is they discontinued Beasts of Chaos so that they could put all of that stuff in a new box and sell it as Old World armies and sell it as an Old World army box.
Oh, no doubt.
That's what's going to happen. So everybody that took their Beasts of Chaos from their square bases to their round bases will now have to go back to square bases if they want to play their Beasts of Chaos again.
Yep. Because how dare you purchase our models? You are crazy.
It's like GW just plays fetch with all their consumers. Like they're like, oh, you want the plastic, boy? You want the plastic? Go get it. And then when you come back, they're like, oh well, let me modify that for you real quick. Blah blah blah. Thanks for the money. All right, go get it, boy. And then it's just like, oh god, it makes me so mad. Like this company is just the worst. Like, and I know Blizzard has done some stupid stuff, but you know what? Blizzard's got their head they got their head on way straighter than GW, and that's not saying much. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, especially like recently, Blizzard's been like making strides to be way better than they were.
Yeah, and that could be just because they have better management with Microsoft now.
Yeah, no doubt.
So somebody needs, or like Games Workshop needs, just an entire purge on their leadership, and then have a bigger, better company buy them. Because at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the final boss of Games Workshop is EA.
Oh my god. I mean, Games Workshop is basically EA of the miniature war game hobby.
Oh yeah. Well, and another big problem is that everybody goes, oh well, this is what happens when they don't have any competitors. Like they do though. They do have competitors. You're just choosing. So one of the big arguments I keep getting in, and it's not really an argument because I'm not arguing against Austin, but I bring it up in our conversations a lot when I go, there's a difference between people online or just people in this hobby. There's a difference between those that call GW out on their BS and refuse to buy their models until they do better. And then there's the other half, which are they complain about Games Workshop and then continue to buy models straight from the company.
Yep.
You know, like those are the people that Games Workshop loves, because they're like, oh, we hear you. We're doing this thing now. Here's a shiny new model to distract you. Oh, here's a new book. Oh, we rehashed the whole game. You got to buy everything over again. Sorry.
And they go ahead and give them like a standing ovation. Bless you, GW. You are amazing. You are amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's what's happening right now. They have. I don't know if you saw, but they have a free model you can get from Games Workshop every month now.
Who cares?
It's what I'm saying. But
like,
that's the little raisin they're putting in your jail cell. Is they go, oh, you want a free Terminator model? I know you don't play Space Marines, but it's free.
It's just like, who cares about a free model if the thing that it's built around is bad?
Yeah. Also, I need to buy their stupid glue to put this free model together. You know, I need to buy their paint to put this to bring this model to life. I mean, not you don't have to buy their paint and glue, but you know what I mean. Like, yeah,
right.
here's a free plastic model that you have to go buy the material to put it together and paint it. Oh God, it's so frustrating.
It's
so
really...
so I mean within the past couple of days, you know, when this has all been going, I mean, I've been saying it again as a cool guy before everybody else. I've basically been saying I'm playing 3rd edition, and that's it. You know, I'm going to keep playing 3rd edition Age of Sigmar because I have most of the things that I want for Age of Sigmar, and, you know, I don't get to play enough games to keep up with this stupid trend of changing the game every 2.5 years. So I'm not going to indulge it, and I'm going to not purchase anything Games Workshop anymore. That was actually the thing I was going to bring up to you. I am 100% on board, and I already have things in my Etsy cart right now to finish out a bunch of my armies.
Hell yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. And here's the thing. To everyone who can hear us on this podcast episode, this is how you're going to teach them. This is how they're going to learn. And I'm sorry, you're going to have to hold fast when they release the shiny new miniature, because they need to understand what they did wrong. And they're not going to do that unless you say you're just not worth it. You have hundreds, thousands of different people who will print the miniatures for you on Etsy, or I think there's like a sister website to My Mini Factory where you can get high quality resin models printed for you. Is it going to look as, you know, hyper detailed as what GW is doing? Probably not. But do you need the hyper detail? Not really.
Especially if we're just playing the game. You know, like we're not here to win Golden Demon painting competitions.
Exactly.
Like, we just want to play the game because, you know, believe it or not, Games Workshop, you actually made a fun game. The problem is that your game is so freaking expensive, nobody can play it. So it's like...
Yeah. Well, and I'm to anyone else listening, on top of just buy from 3D artists, if you are that like, I can't not have non-GW products, buy third hand. Buy already purchased, already built, sometimes miniatures from like Troll and Toad, or it's not the actual name of it, but
Troll Trader.
Troll and Toad is a card website. But Troll Trader or other third party, go to eBay. Like, buy that stuff, because GW gets absolutely nothing from that. They get absolutely $0 from that, and you can still have your nice Warhammer miniatures. I've actually been having some on my eyes, like a I little off topic, but I really love like like old printing of Space Marines, even like some of the metal models. I
Oh yeah.
found I found a first gen Marnius Kolgar.
Oh yikes! That's the short little dwarf one.
Yes. And he's only like $8 because he is what is referred to as part of the scrapyard because he's missing an
Yeah.
arm. But I
Yeah.
don't care. I'll use him and I'll fix up his arm. Why not?
Yeah. Hey, I had found, so I've been, like I said, I've been searching on Etsy, and I want to finish out my Trogoth army.
Mm-hmm.
So a box of rock gut Trogoths discounted at a place like Adventure Gaming is $51 for 3 guys.
Ugh.
I found through Avatars of War, who I actually used to follow on Facebook when I had Facebook,
Uh huh.
but so on Etsy I found a whole heap of rock gut trolls or rock gut Trogoths. I can get 10 of them for $53.
Yep.
So for for a slight of like what, $2 extra, I get more than double what's in the standard GW box,
And
and
that's
at that point I'll practically have all of the Trogoths I need. I believe that army only has what, through 6, 12, 18. So it's got 18 of them, which means that I can just buy 8 more, and then I've got all, or no, that would be 16. So I need to buy 2 more, and that would be it. That would be the full group.
yeah. And that's a huge thing because when you are buying GW product, you're buying the label. Like with like a
Yep.
Supreme shirt, you're buying the
Oh
label.
yeah. Yep. The same thing with any name brand, accessories like purses and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Gucci brand, Louis Vuitton. You are buying the Games Workshop brand.
And it doesn't matter the quality of what that is because you're just looking for that. I bought a GW product, so it's superior. Guys,
Exactly.
let's be honest about this. Detail does not equate to a better looking miniature. I look back on some of the conversions you did on a lot of our miniatures,
Mm.
and I still think one of your simplest conversions is one of your best, and that is the Bloodletter riding the Helldrake.
Oh yeah.
You
And he's
got
got
so
like,
many compliments from that conversion.
I did, yeah. Anytime we brought it to the Games Workshop in I think it was Luke's old store.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we used to play there, and yeah, there was a lot of people that were like, "Oh, that's so cool," because he's just got a little string going
Yeah.
around, like a reins going through his mouth.
It was this is such a simple, yet it felt like this is something that was just made for this.
Yeah,
Like that is one of your best conversions. So detail, putting that extra vein on top of the psyker's head doesn't equate to a better looking miniature. It just means there's more to paint. It just means that there's an extra bump on his head. It doesn't make that the model look better.
true, very much so. Now, I'm definitely on the train for non Games Workshop models anymore. Which I'm happy for the ones that I have.
Totally.
Um, but I am glad to be done buying them and finding substitutes that will, because the thing is like, once fourth edition comes out, which I'm looking forward to, because that means that everybody's third edition battle tomes are going to be cheaper, or they're going
Yep.
to be looking to get rid of them, and those I'm going to buy because I can't proxy those rules. you know?
Unfortunately, but here's the thing. That's third party. That's not even second hand. That's third hand. You're getting it from someone who's already purchased it.
That is true. Yes, I will be buying
Like,
it through somebody who's already purchased these books and got many years out of them.
yeah. So Games Workshop still doesn't get any money. That's an absolute win.
It is. Yeah, I don't plan to have every single battle tome for third edition, but there are a couple of armies that I would like to start uh and play for third edition. that I've also found some really good like proxy models for.
Totally, man. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. But so yeah, that's the whole like Age of Sigmar debacle and my just screw Games Workshop like entirely. Um, I guess the icing on the cake for all that is we also made another decision with 40K. So I had basically just given up on 40K many years ago. So because I'm a 7th edition gatekeeper. I loved old the old style for Warhammer, the much more complex tactical style that we don't really have much anymore. The universal special rules, the unit types instead of keywords, things like that. I prefer that kind of Warhammer, and 7th edition was awesome. I miss hull points and when armor pierce actually mattered. Um, but yeah, anyway, so I had made a decision that I was just going to play 7th edition. I said, you know what? I don't care about anything going on in 40K. I'm just going to play 7th whenever I want to play 40K. But then I remembered that I was actually very excited for 10th edition 40K because I hated 8th and I hated 9th. I had skipped 2 whole editions of 40K because I look what they did to my boy after they after they switched from 7th to 8th. They changed the game, and I not only did I was I bitter, because obviously I was bitter, but I just didn't like the way the game was played. I didn't think it was good. I like a lot of the new stuff that came out. Like at one point, I would like to own Angron because I had been waiting for that guy to come out for
True.
years. But anyway, so the idea that we had was, you know what? We genuinely want to play 40K, and it would be nice to use some of the newer stuff. So because we've skipped, 2 whole editions of 40K, and we were genuinely excited for 10th, and we've played 3 games, but honestly, I don't remember much from them, and I don't remember how I felt while we were playing them. So, it's more of a let's give it another shot. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to play 10th edition. I'm ready to play some 40K again because I do love the universe. Like we've been so invested in the world of Warhammer 40K for 20 plus year, 15, 20 years. It's been a long time coming. So to just dump it and only play up to a certain point, just doesn't feel fair.
Mm-hmm.
So. And the nice thing too is that we're also not giving any money to Games Workshop doing this because we're going to be playing index rules because that's when the game was fair. So because
Exactly.
I don't believe in codexes anymore because anytime a codex comes out, then an army is just too strong.
Yeah, it's almost like the idea, like, and that's the thing. Like, I understand, and I don't disagree with what you said. With like, the codexes make the armies feel far more unique. I don't disagree with that at all. I think that's completely correct. But it creates such an imbalance with everything that it is so tiresome.
It does. The imbalance comes with an army that doesn't have a codex versus an army that does. So the competitive play goes towards the army that has a codex, and that's and I know that it's something that can't be avoided because they can't just release all the codices at once. I mean, they could, but they won't because they gotta stretch out that money goal all the way to the end of that all the way to the end of the 2.5 to 3 years, so that they can sell one more codex for that edition before the edition changes 6 months down the line.
It's not even 6 months. It's gonna change like 2 months down the line.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, didn't that just happen? Like, didn't we just get like the flesh eater courts like in February? It's April right now, by the way.
Yeah, so the box set for Flesh Eater Quartz came out in December, and you were able to buy it in December.
Right.
You had a battle tome in there to play the new Flesh Eater Court rules, but the book itself didn't release until the end of January or the beginning of February, something like that. So yeah, their book came out in February, and now it's going to be worthless.
Yeah, it's just absolutely worthless. Sorry you wasted your money, lol. Fourth
Yeah,
ed, hey.
same thing happened. What was it? 2 years ago, when or no, it was last year.
It
10th
was
edition
last
was
year.
announced. Yeah, last year in February, the World Eaters Codex came out, and everybody got angron, and they were like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And then, you know, 4 months later, it was 10th edition, and their book was useless. But that's not even the worst, because then in, I believe it was April, the Imperial Guard got their codex, so they had it only for 3 months
Yep.
before 10th edition came out. So it was just like we always make the meme. They can't keep getting away with this,
They
but
can't keep getting away with it.
the community allows them to. The community forgives them and just keeps buying their product.
Yeah.
So, but we're gonna play index rules for 10th edition, and I would like to do battle reports on this channel. I think like once in a blue moon, because that's when we get to play. It's once
Yeah.
in a blue moon. It would be
Unfortunately,
kind of,
someone's having a kid and someone's in college.
yeah, one's in college, and our kid's gonna be born in like 15 days, so it's a little difficult.
Well, and
But
allow
oh, go
me
ahead.
to make to equate this to something like Yu-Gi-Oh, because that's the hobby I'm most familiar with.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
it's so weird outside looking in. With Yu-Gi-Oh, we embrace so many legacy formats: Goat format, Edison format, Hat format, Toss format, Duelist Alliance format.
I don't
You
know
have
what any of those are.
I won't go into detail, but they're just like different eras. Like they're like different years that Yu-Gi-Oh was released, and people will play those like older eras of Yu-Gi-Oh from like a certain ban list previous, you know?
Yeah.
So like Goat format was like 2006 or like 2008. So it's really old Yu-Gi-Oh. Named Goat format because Scapegoat Metamorphosis into Thousand Eyes was like the most common thing in the world. Um, but that's so celebrated and so normalized, and even in like Magic the Gathering, they have formats like that. But for some reason, in Warhammer, it's frowned upon
Hmm.
to play an older edition of the game, or it's only done as like a like a LOL experiment. Like, oh, by the way, I tried out a game of fourth ed. Here's my review when it's like ninth.
Right.
And so it's weird, kind of saying like, no, 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 you need to play the most current edition of the game because that's the only way to play. When no, every old edition exists, and in fact, that's something we should be looking at with open arms. Is embracing playing older editions of Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar. Hell, play an older edition of Warhammer Fantasy if it suits your belly. Like,
Yeah. Well, I know for I had asked before because I don't like what Slaves of Darkness third edition Battle Tome did to Legion of the First Prince. So I
mm,
was like, hey, we're all playing non-competitively. Can I just use Legion of the First Prince from Broken Realms Bellicor? I mean, it came out in what, 2022? So it came out 2 years ago.
yeah.
So it really isn't that different. Like Bellicor's profile didn't change. All it does is just give you different allegiance abilities.
Well,
So it's like,
exactly.
why not? Or we had talked about maybe doing a 7th edition game, and you wanted to play 5th edition Necrons or something like that.
Yeah, because like with stuff like that, God, with legacy rules like that, it is so interesting and fun, and people have made custom rules for Warhammer before. Hell, that's how one-page rules started.
Yeah,
Was an easier way and a more condensed way that your models never go out of date to play Warhammer. And I 100% support that. I love to play one-page rules at least once to get to like understand to see if I like it. Um, but with custom rules for older editions should be welcomed. I would love stuff like that.
Would like to I would like to play a 7th edition Necron game against you, but I want the I want the 3rd edition phase out rule.
I mean, like, screw it. Who cares, man?
I want when 50% of my or 75% of my army is gone, I just lose.
No. Because the only way to play those kinds of like mismatch editions is if you play, I believe it was the 5th edition Orcs Codex.
Oh yeah, that's the best Orc Codex.
The best Orc Codex.
By far.
Had so much silly crap in it.
It did. It was the best. And it was it had the best way to load out your mega knobs.
Oh god.
Because you could put in what was it? It was like you could put oh no, it wasn't mega knobs, was it? Was it mega knobs? No. I think it was regular knobs. I would oh no. God, I don't remember. I don't remember if it was knobs or mega knobs, but I used to have it to where I could put if I had a war boss in my army, which I always usually had Gazcol, then I could have a unit of knobs be counted as a troop choice.
It was knobs, not mega knobs.
Yeah, and then if I attached Mad Doc Grotznik to that unit, not only does that entire unit get a 5+ invulnerable save, but then they also had 5 of Feel No Pain.
Oh, it was such a Death Star unit.
Oh, it was. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. I miss 5th edition so much.
Yeah,
5th and 6th was great.
They were. All of those previous editions were good.
They were. But yeah, it's weird that as a community in this sort of Warhammer wargaming space, that legacy content is not as celebrated as in, say, a card game where legacy content is probably one of the main ways to play the game right now.
Yeah. It is true.
But yeah.
What was that thing that you wanted to bring up at the end? Do you
so
do you still have that?
Yeah, I do, and it was mainly we had mentioned it a little bit, but I think with everything happening right now in Age of Sigmar and in Games Workshop, the top brand of wargaming, I think today is the day. All you wargamers out there that listen to this podcast, try a different wargame. Just try. It doesn't have to be Warhammer. We just talked a whole lot of stuff about loving Warhammer and wanting to play like legacy stuff. Don't give GW money. But I think with everything right now, I think you should try another wargame because the love is dwindling. There's a post on Reddit. It's a funny post. Actually, this was a YouTube comment. Excuse me. There's a post someone made. I don't have the username, unfortunately. Everyone focuses on D&D this and D&D that, when actually there are a load of other gaming systems that you can buy and never play due to scheduling conflicts.
Yeah.
In the same vein, boys, there are so many freaking war games that you can try that don't cost you $500 to start, like in Warhammer, and that you don't have to miff around to try to not give GW money. Play Star Wars X-Wings, play Legion, play Shatterpoint, play Black and Powder, play Bolt Action, play Kings of War, play Rumble Slam. There's so many play one-page rules and use any miniature you want because they have an army builder where you can make your own army. Like,
play Heroescape.
They're getting their new line soon. Like, now is the time to play a new war game. I don't want, if you are in love with Warhammer like we are, I'm not here to tell you quit the game, abandon it, abandon your darlings, abandon your love. I'm saying,
because we're not.
Yeah, we're not. But I am saying with everything happening and with this star starting to fade, if you will, now is the time to try and dip your toes into something else. Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you'll say, I want 40k Sigmar. That's my love. That's what I want to play. Cool. But you tried. And I don't think you would have tried if this downfall didn't happen.
Well said. Yeah, I agree. The whole time you were making that monologue, it's like I was slowly just zooming in on my Kings of War rule books, just sitting over there.
Because now is the time, man. Now is
Yeah.
the time.
Kings of War. I mean, just to start the army is pretty easy. It was like $120, and we got an army in a box.
Exactly. No, I watched a YouTube video of how much it costs to start an army in like a bunch of different war games, and like or other like GW specialty games like Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl is like $180 because you can get the starter set, but most armies are super cheap. Or teams. Kings of War is like $180. You could play Hero Clicks for $50.
Ooh.
Marvel Crisis Protocol. I've been interested in that one, but Crisis Protocol for $80 you get a giant team, and it's more of a kill team style game anyway. Dip your toes. It's time to start playing a new game. Try a new game, I should say. Try a new game, and maybe you'll end up saying, "This is my new Sigmar." Who knows?
Agreed.
Do you want to go ahead and add anything else? Because I could say stuff like GW is anti-consumer. I still believe they are. I think the practice they do is more against the consumer than helping the consumer. But we kind of went over that earlier with like prices and all that stuff. So I really don't have any more to add.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with that last statement anyway. So I mean, and they're never going to change. It's only going to get worse.
Exactly.
Couple of the YouTubers I've watched that have had videos on like some of these subjects too have basically said, I hope you guys get used to the system because it's going to keep happening and you're going to keep buying the models.
And you're going to keep buying the models. But we're here to be your we're here to be the people that pull you away from that. Don't buy the models.
We're here. Yeah, we're here to tell you that the grass is greener on the other side. It truly is.
Yeah. Don't support GW. Don't buy the models, no matter how pretty they might seem. Because it's hard. It's really hard. I do love a lot of GW minis, but I can't support them.
Nope. I refuse.
And you should too.
That's right.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add, Chris?
I don't know. What video games are you playing?
Well, now that you mentioned it, I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag for them. we had just finished talking about the next challenge. Anyone who's been watching my streams for Yu-Gi-Oh! Masochist, I've been planning what I'm doing next for it. I'll save that for when we actually get to it. But I was just telling Chris about it, so.
Yeah, I've just still been playing Hogwarts Legacy, so got my first
game.
curse.
It is a Game of the Year nominee, if I remember correct.
Yeah, it was. But
it seemed like deservedly so. I don't know too much about Harry Potter.
I mean, I think it's fun. You don't really need to know anything about it because it takes place like 200 years before Harry Potter's even born.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, whatever, man.
Yeah, like, whatever,
like, whatever, dude. I don't care anymore.
Let's just get super sassy right now, like, it's the end of the video. I'm feeling good. My beer's empty.
I could tell your beer is empty because you stopped adding and stopped getting angry. So
yeah, stop burping.
Stop burping. So you're like, well, yeah, no, my beer's done, so I'm done with my rant.
Yep, game over. All right, I guess my final words for this episode is listen to what Alex said. Try stuff. It's fun. The grass truly is greener. Also, quit Facebook. The Shadow Government.
Shadow Wizard Money Gang. We love casting spells.
We love casting spells.
All right, bye.
Oh, you didn't quit yet?